What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. We kind of hit on the Bengals there, but it's really hard to overcome. I think it's really hard to overcome chaos. You know, it's why so many people that grow up in chaos, we all have known them. Maybe you did. You know, any situation when you're young that's impacts you the rest of your life. And as you get older, chaotic situations can really derail you. And it's why the Bengals, they have multiple guys holding out, a rookie, their star pass rusher. It's kind of been a consistent theme in this organization, despite they've drafted pretty well over the years. They've had some pretty good teams on paper, but it's kind of always the same thing, you know. And I will just bet against the Bengals. No matter, you can tell me Joe Burrow throws 50 touchdowns. I'd be like, yeah, it's still going to be tough for them to overcome the Mike Brown operation because that's not changing. And I don't tried to really read up onto the situation with the rookie and the language. You know, Florio's got an agenda. He's obviously on the agent side. Mike Brown claims that this clause is just about going to jail or something. You know, it's I don't know. It just shouldn't be this complicated. That's what I know. It just should not be this complicated. And it's always kind of sometimes that complicated with Mike Brown. You know, think about a place that the Kansas City Chiefs, and they deserve a lot of credit that several years ago, let's face it, I mean, it's aged incredibly well. At the time, even I thought, Coach Reed, man, Beach, are you sure you want to trade Tyreek Hill? He's one of the great players we've ever seen in the peak of his powers, and you guys are going to punt on him? Yeah, we're just not comfortable. Probably some things that we know that you don't know, and we're just not paying him $30 million a year. So they punted, and they traded him before the draft, so they had two first-round picks, and they got Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis. They just gave George a 4-year, $93 million extension, I think $60 million guaranteed, and just knowing guys there, they love these two guys. They love these two guys. And that draft, specifically those two individuals, has been a big reason with Chris Jones and Spags that they were a defensive team the last 2 years, despite having winning one of the great offensive coaches and quarterbacks in the history of the sport. And it's not just these guys are good players. McDuffie's a really good starter. Karlaftis is a really good starter. I don't know if either of them are Hall of Fame, all-time great players, but they're championship level players. And they're winning players. And they're everything you want off the field. From a way they operate, from a way they work, from a way they play. Or prepare to play. And I think the Chiefs are a good example of, even when weird shit happens, they just feel we got it handled. The Rashee Rice situation, he's going to get suspended. We got it handled. Yet when these situations happen with some of these other teams, I don't know, man. So, you know, the Chiefs, they've spent some money this offseason. Trey Smith, Karlaftis, and they're just paying money to their type guys, right? And to be a good football player in the NFL, I don't think much has changed from previous generations. Obviously, you got to be good and have the physical capabilities, but your practice habits, how mentally and physically tough you are, how serious you take football, how much you want it, all the intangible stuff matters now as much as it ever did. So you know what Scotty Scheffler taught us? You drive for show, but you putt for dough. And the easiest way for you to make some dough, betting on this week's tournament on DraftKings. From the opening round through Sunday, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Chris Gotterup, who just finished third at the Open and won the week before at the Scottish Open, betting favorite this week. Do think he's going to run out of juice. Do you know one name I like a lot? Tony Finau. Showed some serious life across the pond. You can get him right now to win the tournament, plus 350, or plus 3,500, excuse me. But plus 650 to top 5, plus 330 to top 10. Tony Finau has won this tournament before. So like Tony Finau a lot. Wyndham Clark, Mav McNeely, a couple other guys to keep an eye on, trending, trying to battle for a spot on the Ryder Cup team. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet 5 to get 150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code JOHN. That's code JOHN, J-O-H-N. I got an H in my name, J-O-H-N. For new customers to get 150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you told me when did Phillip Rivers retire, it'd be like 5 years ago. Announced his retirement today. I saw a headline. Phillip Rivers announces his retirement. Like, hasn't Phil Rivers been coaching the high school team for like 3 or 4 years? Isn't his son uh, like one of the big recruits in the country? Kind of plays and throws just like him. I think he's going to end up at NC State. But I don't know. Maybe he's 15, 16 years old. Obviously, Rivers has like 75 kids. But I just laughed out loud when I saw Phillip Rivers announce his retirement. I always enjoyed Phillip. I said this forever. I saw within the last couple of weeks that Drew Brees is going to call one of the Netflix games on Christmas. And listen, I have a lot of respect for Drew. Obviously, as one of the all-time great players of his generation, Hall of Famer. I think he'd be an excellent like GM or offensive coordinator, or head coach. He's terrible on TV. I mean, he's just not. We're in the entertainment business. He's just not entertaining. I think Phillip would have been awesome on TV. I mean, tailor made for definitely for the networks. Doesn't swear. Animated, excited. I think there's like a John Madden kind of jovial, but the player version. I think he would have been a star. Now I don't know if he's ever going to do it, but if I ran a network, I know these networks are just they have a hard on for like getting the most famous guy possible. We've seen time and time again that is not and obviously Phillip's not as famous as some of these other guys that get these gigs, or he's not a former Cowboy quarterback. I would just keep hitting him up because if he ever just retires from high school coaching and get him in the booth, I think he would be a star. Will Levis, got to be one of my all time. It could have been heat of the moment, but I remember watching him a couple times his junior year. So the year before he declared, I definitely put this out on the old Twitter that I thought he could be the number one pick in the draft. Now I gotta listen. I got a little thing for strong arm quarterbacks, and Liam Cohen was his offensive coordinator. Kentucky was really good. Liam leaves. Scangarello comes in his senior year. Will Levis is just not really good. Has some games that you're just shaking your head. Obviously falls out of the first round. Goes to the Titans. Gets shoulder surgery today. He's out for the season. Unofficially, it ends his Titan career. He's not going to be on the Titans ever again after this. It crossed my mind today. Now, there are some years where a team has like 7 injuries at quarterback. You never say never. I do think going into a season, you can just probably cross Will Levis. Never again be in a two deep because you wouldn't want him as a backup quarterback, right? He's just too terrible, kind of a screw around guy. And honestly, your backup quarterback, you would just want if anything, to be really, really limited and understand that. The problem with Will Levis is he thinks he's like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, and he clearly is not. And he's just not instinctive. He's just not good. I mean, there's just no way around it. Now he has this major injury at shoulder, but the Titans, Cam Ward, and sayonara to Will Levis.